Hello everybody, this is Fernando for the latest Urban Legends video. Alright, let's go ahead and let's mix another one in here. Once again from the urbanlegendsonline.com website. This one having to do with an urban legend that's linked more to a town. This is an urban legend that's an older one too. In fact, it's from the early 1800s and to this very day at that location. If you go visit it, apparently you might also run into some ghosts. More on that here in just a moment, but who knows? There may be a link associated with those ghosts and the urban legend tied here. It's a very sad urban legend, though. It has to do apparently with many children. They end up being vanishing without a trace. And so to this day, people are mystified to why that is. And on top of that, this urban legend apparently has a repeating pattern. More on that here in a moment too. But it's known as the Milltown Abductions. Let's go ahead and let's talk about that information here. I'll give my own thoughts and opinions on it too. So this is what it says. The town of Ellicott Mills was terrorized in the year 1819. Hundreds of kids had vanished with no trace. After several of the children were last seen speaking with Edwin Gravelet, parents got concerned. Edwin was the unpopular Gravelet family's youngest son. Years of bizarre and loud nighttime noises emanating from their home had enraged the neighborhood. And so rumors abounded in the isolated industrial town. After local officials failed to respond to public demands for a search, a mob formed to conduct the search themselves. Locals invaded the Gravelet mill, armed and enraged, only to discover it had been completely vacated. The family was nowhere to be found. After search groups were unable to locate the culprits, others speculated that the Gravelets had fled west. Others speculated that they had simply gone into hiding in the Patapsco Valley's deep woodlands. And so the village eventually returned to normal, and the memories of the missing youngsters faded away until 1869, when 7 children vanished in the span of a week. Locals speculated that a quote-unquote troubled soldier from the Civil War was to blame. Some of the town's older residents, on the other hand, had a different theory. The Gravelets were back. And so the disappearance of that week turned out to be isolated over time, and the Gravelet family faded further into oblivion. Now, the Gravelet family had been forgotten when children went missing, now in late October 1919, and again in 1969, and then the village accepted the unresolved disappearances as incidences of group runaways or bad luck. Signs of the Gravelet family had begun to appear in the woods 200 years after those first abductions. Hikers had observed the Gravelet family emblem near trails and mill ruins in Patapsco State Park, and a collection of graves with the mark were discovered in a thicket off of Church Road. Authorities had dismissed the incidents as pranks. The most superstitious among us, on the other hand, believe we may be witnessing the reappearance of the family responsible for the disappearance that have afflicted the area every 50 years. Then that's it. That's everything associated with this urban legend, the Milltown Abduction. So let's go ahead and let's talk about that here. Interesting story, right? If you were to believe this situation, this urban legend, again, an older one dating back to the 1819s. It all started when all of a sudden hundreds of kids began to vanish. And again, no information was given as to how it happened, when it happened, what were the specifics around it. Nothing. They just simply disappeared off the face of the earth. But apparently there was a culprit, or at least the people, the townspeople of that location thought there was. Edwin Gravelet of the Gravelet family. And where it takes an interesting turn is the fact that they apparently disappeared, just as the children themselves. They were never ever to be found afterwards. But if you believe this urban legend, they make an appearance every 50 years. That's apparently when new sets of children happen to be gone as well. They disappear. Nobody knows what happens to them. Some people blame them as runaways, others as misfortunes of bad luck, in other words. But it seems to coincide with every 50 years. So first time was 1869 on the 50th anniversary. Then it was 1919, then 1969, and then also beyond that. So is it going to happen? Is it truly every 50 years that somehow, some way, this family whatever it is almost takes on a supernatural twist, comes back, and then is able to abduct more and more children. Those of you in that area too, I looked up some information associated with it. Ellicott's Mills is located there in Maryland. Apparently, it's on the opposite side of Ellicott City. Again, an old town. This was apparently in the late 1700s that it was formed, maybe even sooner, who knows. And then when that occurred, it became a pretty prominent town, at least at that time. Very famous for its industrious mills that helped champion that location for a good time period. Nowadays, though, it's more along the lines of a historic location. You can apparently go there and visit it and walk amongst the areas there, and what was used to be at least a town full of workers and those associated with the mills is nowadays linked with antique stores, eclectic boutiques, restaurants, and taverns, and also ghosts. That's right, when I was looking at a website for the information on this town, if you go there, you can apparently do some nighttime tours, just some walking tours involving ghosts, and there's plenty of them abound. There's stuff associated with troops, Confederate soldiers, prisoners of wars, people that used to work there, those that were in the bars as well too. What else did I read? Ghosts of mourning women as well. Apparently ghosts even at a department store, no less. So you have all these entities that now roam that historic location. Could they be in turn tied to this legend associated with these missing children? I tried to see if there was more information about the family, Gravelay family, but I couldn't find much, let alone the son that was in question, Edwin Gravelay, and whatever he was doing, apparently, with regards to those missing children. And then more information about hundreds of kids missing. You would think that there would be abundance of that info. If it's one or two children, that's something. But imagine hundreds. Like, there would be more stuff to look up, even if it was just in print, even if it was just word of mouth. That stuff would essentially be talked about, and it would have more information, more proof. But I couldn't really find much with that. But if you're there again in that area, then you're in luck, at least, because there's some very specific locations where you can try to find this family. So again, you have to go to Patapsco State Park. Anybody heard of that? Anybody there from that location? If you go there, you can probably try to find either graves associated with the children, graves associated with the family, markings from the family as well, no less. And then apparently there's a road there called Church Road where you can also try to find some information on it. You know me, I love specific locations. I love the idea of doing these type of research and then being able to go visit that exact spot right down to the corner wherever it's located. So those of you in that area there, you're in luck. You're going to be able to do something along those lines and then see if you have evidence associated with this urban legend. But let me know what you guys and gals think as far as this urban legend. Is it true? Is it false? The idea that there really was a town involving on those mills is true, but anything involving missing children, there just has to be more information, especially when it involves hundreds, and then the family in question as well. And then anybody visit there that knows more information on the ghosts or has ghostly experiences, post it in the comments. All right, everyone. Thanks again as always. Take care. Bye.